This is a short video that's going to introduce us to project number 1. Project number 1 is on record high temperatures. And if you need additional help, definitely stop by office hours or visit the Marks Computer Lab and they can help also. So there's an introduction here about record high temperatures. The highest temperature ever recorded was 134.1 degrees. This is in Furnace Creek, California, which is in Death Valley. However, the validity of this is being challenged and they're still looking into this. So by newer standards and more accurate readings, they will say that there is a tie between Kuwait and also Furnace Creek, California, Death Valley, in the 2000s. And so that was a temperature of 129.2 in 2013. And then in 2016, 2017, Kuwait also matched those values. And so they're still waiting to see about another one that was recorded in Furnace Creek in 2020 and 2021, where the temperature did reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit, but they are still waiting for that to be approved. So for right now, we're going to conduct a study on the record hottest temperatures in North America. We're looking at 20 North American countries, and this data can be found here. You can click on this link. Also, the web address is typed in here too. But make sure to use the data from the record hottest temperatures in North America listed on the given website. I listed the countries also just so there was no confusion on which countries you're looking at. And so we're going to be using the data on that website. You're going to write down and record the indicated temperatures in Fahrenheit. Make sure you're looking at these in the correct units, which is Fahrenheit for us. And you should have 20 values. And the link is again given up above. Points for each part are listed, and the total points that can be earned are 45. This is an individual project. Each student will submit their own project solutions. This project needs to be typed. Each part needs to be correctly labeled and done in order. And StatDisk, the website is listed right here, needs to be used. Using a graphing calculator for those specific parts that state you need to use StatDisk will result in a 0. And so on here it does say parts 3, 4, and 5. They're starred below. Must have screenshots of the output from StatDisk. Distributions, your tables can be created either in Excel, StatDisk, Word, Google Docs, Google Sheets, whatever it is that you would like to use. You also must provide the specific answer. Answers need to be rounded 3 decimal places. So a lot of times students will put a screenshot from StatDisk but not tell me what the answer is. So make sure you do that and you round it correctly 3 decimal places. The objective of this project is to gain knowledge with working with a statistical computer program. This is a small first project. We will grow in size in terms of the number of data values that we're dealing with project 2 and so on. So the next part is that we have the different questions here. You'll see they're numbered. And then you'll also notice that numbers 3, 4, and 5 all have stars by them. Those are the ones that we do have to have a screenshot of StatDisk. And again, if you're unsure about something with your device, like how to do screenshots, you can always look on YouTube. Another place to go is looking in your syllabus. There is an IT help desk that can help you, or stop by office hours and we can figure it out together. So number 1 says to create a frequency distribution. Remember, this is just a table that you're going to be making. And this table is going to be having the name of the 20 Northern American countries and their record hottest temperatures in Fahrenheit. And remember, the web page was given to you up above. And then we're going to use that data to create a distribution. This time it's a grouped frequency distribution. Class width of 8 degrees, starting value of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely go back and look at your chapter 3 notes. You'll notice that we did something very similar to this dealing with soccer player weights. So opening up the website that is given to you, you'll notice it says list of weather records. You will need to scroll down a little ways. Scrolling down, you'll notice it says country/region, temperature, town location, and the date. The first group listed here is African countries. Scroll down until you see the North American countries. And so there's a list on the left-hand side of all of those countries. And then you can actually see where it was recorded and the temperature. I want to remind you that we are using Fahrenheit for this project, not Celsius. So make sure you use the ones that are inside the parentheses. Those are the values that you need to have. It's also interesting because the date is listed on there too when that occurred. And there is a pretty wide range of values on here, but this is the data that you need. So numbers 3, 4, and 5 all require us to use StatDesk. So number 3 says to create a histogram with a class width of 8 degrees Fahrenheit and a starting value of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And then 4 says to find the descriptive statistics. This means that we need to have the mean of the sample, the standard deviation of the sample, and the 5-number summary of the sample. And this is of that recorded hottest temperature weather in Fahrenheit on the 20 North American countries. Number 5 is asking for us to create a box plot of the raw data. And it says do not need to include fences or make this a modified box plot. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up StatDesk. So opening up StatDesk and going to that webpage, it works at statdist.com and statdist.org. You're going to notice that it looks a lot like almost like an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet also. And so for this, you would have to type in column 1 those Fahrenheit numbers, not the countries. You don't need to type that in, but you do need to type in the Fahrenheit numbers, just the numerical values. You do not need to put the little degree symbol and F. It will actually give you an error. So just the numbers, so 95.5, that's it, and so forth with the rest of them. And so up here at the top, you'll notice that there's drop downs for analysis, for resampling, for data, and for data sets. And so with this data sets, we'll actually be using for project 2. But for right now, if you click on data with the drop down, you are asked to do 3 things. And the first thing with StatDesk was a histogram. And so you'll notice if you look down, you'll see the word histogram. And so if you select histogram, it pulls up a bunch of information that you have. So first of all, it says select the column where you typed in your values. I don't have any values typed in right now. You also can give your histogram a title. You can relabel your X values and your Y values. And then we can use defined values. It asks for the class width and the class start. Those were both given to you in that problem. And then I can go ahead and show grid, bar labels, everything. It's up to you what you want to do on that part. And then select plot and it will create that histogram for you. So that's the first part that we have for number 3. For question 4, this was asking for the descriptive statistics. And so again, with that drop down on data, you'll notice that the 4th thing down says explore data dash descriptive statistics. So I'm going to select that. And then from here, it says exploring the data in the column, and wherever you selected where you put your data, number 1, number 2, whatever column you have it in, you would select and then hit evaluate. Once you do that, it will give you all of those results. Just make sure that underneath your screenshot, you type the specific answers that we wanted, which was mean, standard deviation, 5-number summary, and you correctly round 3 decimal places. The last part that needed StatDesk, question 5, was asking for you guys to make a box plot, which is right underneath where histogram was. So if you select box plot, this one says which columns of data would you like to plot, and wherever you put those Fahrenheits, you would select. And then from there, you would select box plot. Part 6 says to describe the shape of the distribution of the box plot in part 5. It does say to make sure you use complete sentences and clearly explain your reasoning. Make sure you use the same wording as stated in our class and in our notes. If you do not use the correct wording, then you'll earn 0 points for this part for not following the directions. This is worth 2 points for part 6. Part 7 says determine if there are any outliers. And you must show all your work and clearly explain why or why not you don't have any outliers in your data set. Remember, for this, you have to calculate your interquartile range, your lower fence, and your upper fence. So make sure to go back and look at your notes for that. And then number 8 says select a new country, one that's not in North America. that starts with the same letter as your first or last name. So for example, my first name is Laura, and I could select the country Luxembourg because that and my name both start with an L, and record the name of the country and also record the hottest temperature that they have on record in Fahrenheit. And then it says the list of all countries can be found here, and then there are links there too. This is the same web page that we are looking at. Just select a new country that again begins with the first letter of your first name or your last name. And then it says that's worth 1 point. Part 9 says find the z-score. And remember, for z-scores, this is going to be your value minus the sample mean divided by the sample standard deviation. Our notes on this project stayed around 3 decimal places, so make sure you do that. And it does say to use the mean and the standard deviation from part 4 up above. Part 10 says determine the record hottest temperature in Fahrenheit of your selected country, and part 8 is significantly low, significantly high, or not significant. So again, go back and look at your notes for what z-score values you would need for it to be significantly low or significantly high or not significant. It does say to make sure to use complete sentences, so don't forget to do that. Clearly explain your reasoning. Make sure you use the same wording from our class notes and textbook, and this one's worth 5 points. So this is our project, our first project. I suggest getting a very early start on this and reaching out if you have any questions. Best of luck.